Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and yeah, first off, I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Yeah, Happy New Year! Looking forward to 2018. So I'm just going to do a quick update on the cryptocurrencies in this video, and yeah, just give you a little update since there was a bounce yesterday, and then now it's the new day has been trading. So we have two new candles since my last video, and yeah, first up we're going to look at Bitcoin on Coinbase. And as you can see here, it did break below the support, which was this, you can see this horizontal support line. It had broken below that level. And then notice that down here, there was a bounce off of the green line, okay, on the 30th. And so and then, the bounce off of that level, that's the 50-day simple moving average. That's currently the key level to hold. It's at 12,736 right now, and so that's the big level to hold. You want to see the 50-day simple moving average hold. If there's a close below, that will signal downside risk. You could see the candles pull all the way back down to this 100-day simple moving average at 9195. This is the big support level. It needs to hold this level, and then notice this pink line here. That's EMA4, currently at 13,722. It needs to close above that level to get the bounce going. The last close above EMA4 was back here on the 26. It's been resistance. Once there's a close above that level, it'll signal it's starting to heat up, and then we need to get a close above EMA 13, which is currently at 14,605. Once it's above that level, it's got to get back above that middle Bollinger Band to get a new uptrend going, and the middle Bollinger Band is currently all the way up here at 15,845. So there's a lot of work to do for Bitcoin to reverse this current downtrend. It's currently in a strong downtrend, right in EMA's 4 and 8 resistance lower. It's hitting the major support level. If you notice back here when there was the big bounce on the 22nd, it bounced off of the 50-day simple moving average. So it will be a major red flag if this level fails to hold. If you see this hold, this could be the bounce level. So we're going to keep an eye on the 50-day simple moving average this week. If you look at the Bitcoin Bitstamp chart, you'll see here we did this little head and shoulders pattern with this diagonal neckline, and then notice how there was a close below that neckline on the 30th, and then on the 31st it was able to get back above. There was a nice bounce yesterday, and so notice the bounce once again was off the green line. Notice back here on the 22nd it bounced right off that 50-day simple moving average. People had their buy orders in at that level, and it came down and filled them up, and then notice that the same thing has happened on the last couple of trading sessions. There have been bounces off of the 50-day simple moving average. Once again, if that level breaks, that's going to signal downside risk. Right now, there's a small candle forming, and it's working on breaking EMA4 resistance, just like the other chart, currently at 13,692. Once it gets above EMA4, that'll be our signal that the chart's heating up. It would be great if it could hold this neckline, stay above EMA4, get above the EMAs 4, 8, and 13, and then work its way back up to that middle Bollinger Band at 15,677. It has to get above that middle Bollinger Band to get a new uptrend going. So once again, if you see a drop below that 50-day simple moving average, you could see it drop down to this 11,685 level, and then below that is that 100-day simple moving average. There'll be support in between, of course, with the prior resistance levels that will turn into support, but the big moving average levels, there's a big drop between the 50 and the 100. This is the big level to hold for Bitcoin, so we'll see if it can hang on to that level next week. Okay, let's look at the Bitcoin Cash chart, and so as you can see here, it broke below the middle Bollinger Band on the 30th. There was a close below that level, and then yesterday there was a bounce, but it still closed below the middle Bollinger Band. And then today there's another candle forming below that level, and notice the candles are riding the pink line lower, so they're below EMA4. So it's currently in the process of possibly starting a downtrend. This could be an action like back here in December where it got below the middle Bollinger Band. It was able to just get sideways for a couple days and then get back above and continue the uptrend. That's what you're looking for right now if you're a bull. If that middle Bollinger Band up there at 2441 turns into resistance, then you could see it pull back. Just like how Bitcoin bounced off the 50-day simple moving average, you could possibly see the same thing for Bitcoin Cash if the middle Bollinger Band turned into resistance. But the 50-day simple moving average is down at 1791, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's look at XRP. So Ripple had that long upper wick on the 30th, so you can see how the share price came, or the crypto price came all the way up to 247, and then it pulled all the way back. It formed this really long upper wick, so there was a lot of profit taking on the 30th, and you know, the red candle formed the bearish pattern, but it did bounce back on the 31st, and it closed above the previous closing price. I mean, the uptrend is still extremely strong as long as the EMA4 down here at 185 is holding. You know, the signal is to keep riding. You know, once you see, if you're a swing trader, once you see it close below that EMA4, you could see some consolidation. You know, the risk is that it would drop down to EMA8 at 162. To the upside, what it really needs to do is get above this 2 level. Currently, the closing price from yesterday at 199. You know, so that's the all-time high close. It needs to get above that level to keep making. You know, it needs to keep making the new highs. You know, if you look at this, you know, it looks like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, this could be the 5 Elliott, you know, Elliott wave pattern. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you could have an A, B, C corrective wave. You know, it's set up where it could correct here, so you just have to keep an eye on that. A break below EMA4 would be your signal that the chart's cooling down. Okay, let's look at Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum has been trading sideways. It's got the sideways channel going. You know, this is going to be, you know, there's no doubt that Ethereum is going to be a big winner. Okay, so you know, look at the data that's out there. Ethereum is being used right now by 70% of the blockchain companies are using Ethereum. So there's a lot of data that's just been out over the holiday break, and it's just all signaling towards Ethereum. Just, you know, is super solid, and it is the long-term play. You know, it's gonna, in the end, it's probably gonna do better than Bitcoin. I mean, so we'll see. You know, we'll see how it all plays out. But people are loving themselves some Ethereum, and it's trading sideways and it's holding up. But it's in a sideways channel now. And so right now, that 750 level is the top of the channel. You need to get a new high close above 751, and then that would send you up here to the to the closing price up here on the what is that, the 19th. And so that would be at 816. So above 751, you could get a run back up to that level. You know, there will be some resistance in between. You know, there's another high close here. You know, where it was pushing through, but the big level is that 816, and so the bottom of this channel right now is down here at 669, and so notice that would be below the middle Bollinger Band. So it's really important right now. It's channeling hard, and it's forming a you know, if you look here and you draw an ascending support line, you can see you've got this you've got a what, you know, you've got what looks like you know, this has that bearish flag look to it. You have ascending support leading into horizontal resistance. If it fails to get above 750 and this ascending support breaks, that's going to signal downside risk. So it's really important that it stays above that middle Bollinger Band here at 726, and then it gets above 750 if you're a bull. If it go, you know, most people are bullish on most of these cryptocurrencies, and if you get a drop below the ascending support line, that's going to signal downside risk. That's going to put 670 on deck. You know, this previous support line, and then if it drops below that, you know, you have the 50-day simple moving average way down here at 543. So keep in mind, when you have a pullback and then you get a big red candle, you know, this isn't, you know, per se a bear flag. You know, it looks a little big for that, but it has that same type of pattern. So you always want to be a lookout for that when you know, when a big red candle forms. You know, always look for the, you know, you look for the bull flag, but you also look for the bear flag to the downside. And so right now we have Litecoin, and Litecoin is pulling back. It closed below the middle Bollinger Band on the 27th. That signaled downside risk. I mean, it was already downside risk because it was riding EMA's 4 and 8 resistance lower, you know, and you were looking for a possible rebound off this middle Bollinger Band. If it held, it got sideways action going when it hit that middle Bollinger Band support zone, and then it broke down. On the 28th, you know, that was signaling big time downside risk. It has come down and it found support off of this previous close on the 11th and the open on the 12th down here at 207. You know, it needs to hold that 207. If it breaks, you know, you could see this working its way down to 170. That is the 50-day simple moving average support level, and that could be where this is headed, similar to Bitcoin. So you could see down here that is the big support level. It's currently riding EMA4 resistance lower. It will be a risk to hold until it can close above 226 and turn that level into support to get the bounce going. So just keep in mind, anything is a risk to hold while it's riding EMA4 resistance lower. Okay, so here we go with Monero. So Monero had the great run. It pulled back and then support broke. Middle Bollinger Band support broke on the 30th. It has the possibility of starting a new downtrend here if the Middle Bollinger Band turns into resistance. That's currently up here at 345. It needs to get back above 345, turn that level into support, and then it could push back into the fours. If you see it fail to get above 345, that it could signal more downside risk. It really needs to hold this previous support level where the close was down here, at what is this, 302 or so, 303. It needs to hold that level. If that level breaks, then you could see a drop down here to this 50-day simple moving average currently at 249. So that's where these cryptocurrencies are headed if the middle Bollinger Band turns into resistance. The middle Bollinger Band is the 20-day simple moving average. If it turns into resistance, they will likely head to that next major moving average support level, which is currently the 50-day simple moving average on most of these charts. So keep that in mind. That's the downside risk. Okay, let's look at Dash. Okay, so Dash here has the same setup. It had the big spike. It was following a similar move to Monero. Had a very beautiful uptrend going. Pulled back. It had the craziness on the 22nd where it got below the middle Bollinger Band, got back above, but then finally the middle Bollinger Band broke on the 30th. And so that level has turned into resistance. The candles are forming below. Notice how they're riding the pink line lower. Yesterday there was a bounce, but you have to keep in mind when stocks are in a downtrend, when they're following, when they're riding EMA's 4 and 8 resistance lower, you will get bounces along the way, but most of the time those are just short cover rallies. It has to turn those levels into support, close above it to head higher. If you get a bounce, but it's still below EMA 4, it's more than likely just a short cover rally. You just have to keep that in mind. And so right now, it's currently in this downtrend has started. And so if it can get back above 1080, it could get this previous uptrend going again. But if it fails to get above that level, it's going to signal downside risk. Once again, you're looking at the risk is that it drops down to 800. And it hits this 50-day simple moving average down here. Notice how that's lining up with the previous resistance level from back in the end of November, beginning of December. Okay, let's look at EOS here. Same scenario. It has the beautiful uptrend. It peaked. These all have the Eiffel Tower pattern, where it's a nice steady uptrend, and they get the parabolic push. That's the climax spike, and then you're getting the correction. And so now what's going on? It's below the middle Bollinger Band on the 30th. Once again, exact same pattern below EMA 4. If it fails to get back above that middle Bollinger Band, you're looking at a potential drop down here to down here to the $5 level, down to that 50-day simple moving average. If it can get back above that middle Bollinger Band at 844, then it could get moving again. Once it's above EMA's 4, 8, and 13 there at 792, that will be your clue that it's heating up, but it has to stay above that level. Notice when we were talking about the bear flag, this is the perfect example right here that I'm talking about. So you have the big red candle, okay? And so yeah, it got the bounce here, but this was the bear flag. So you had the little bounce, right? And then what happened is yeah, let's just check this out real quick for just a quick little lesson. And so so it formed what we call a bear flag. Okay, so you have I should have made that red, but you have the drop there, and then the bounce. Okay, and so it failed to break above resistance, and then notice this red candle broke the ascending support line. Okay, I know it could have been drawn better, but you get the point. Support broke, and that signaled downside risk. This is a bear flag, so you get the bounce. That it comes up, it fails to break resistance, it drops lower. So just keep in mind, you want to constantly be trying to draw the support and resistance lines on your charts to help you identify key levels to enter and exit. Okay, yeah, so let's look at the next chart here. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit and look at some better looking charts. And so yeah, those all were looking like total poo-poo if you're long, right? None of those look good. They, you know, maybe a couple looked okay, like you know, Ripple is still in play and looking good, but most of them are bearish. You know, most of them are in a downtrend. You know, and they're not looking good if you're long. You know, Ripple's still in play, so keep that in mind. But the other ones are hurting right now. Okay, so, but here's some that have better looking charts, and here's ADA. Okay, so this we talked about this in the last video, and so it's been pushing higher. It's pretty frothy here. You know, you have multiple green candles in a row, so you have 5 green candles in a row, and it's forming a lower high today. So when you have a consecutive higher highs being made, you notice how it had 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs made in a row, and then today there's a lower higher high. This could be swing point number 3, which is the signal that it could be pulling back, taking a little breather. And if it does, you know, it might work its way back to EMA 4 down here at 4639. And so the chart is still super strong. It's just, you know, after multiple days of being up, you have the long upper wick. It could be taking a breather. We'll see. The key is to follow the intraday charts. They will tell you that the chart is starting to break down first. But yeah, it's a very nice, strong uptrend, and we'll see if EMA 4 support can hold and it can continue. Okay, let's look at NEM. Okay, so it's pushing higher. It broke above high close horizontal resistance, and so it's working its way up. It has made a nice move over the last couple of days. It's got a nice uptrend going. It's bucking so what we're trying to do are find charts that are bucking the trend of the big players, you know, of the big ones, you know, or we're just looking for any charts that are looking bullish right now, and that would be some nice bullish divergence from what the leaders of the pack are doing, since they're dropping and pulling back. And so you're right now, you know, you're trying to find crypto plays that have good charts, and so this is a strong one. It's got a good uptrend going. Notice it's above all the moving averages, the 50, the 100, the 300, and the 200-day simple moving average, and it's riding EMA's 4 and support, EMA's 4 and 8 support higher. So yeah, it's made a close above high close horizontal resistance, and then today it's made another high close. So it's working its way higher. As you can see, it's going to have some resistance over here. So if you come up here, it's going to have resistance at 0085. So if you're trading this, write that down. That's going to be a big level to break. You know, it could be working its way back up here to that previous high up here at 0012. It has to break 85 first to get there. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin Gold. Okay, so we talked about this in the last video. I mean, you know, the other Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Stamp and Bitcoin Coinbase, you know, they all have been, you know, they're looking very bearish right now. They could bounce off the 50-day simple moving average, so this could turn into a good bounce play next week if that 50-day simple moving average holds. So keep that in mind with Bitcoin. It could we could get a little rally if it holds, bounces, and gets some play. If it doesn't hold, it's going to be a major red flag. So keep that in mind. But if you look at Bitcoin Gold, it has very tight Bollinger Bands. So check out the Bollinger Bands are tight, and you have basically 6 days in a row of what are almost dojis, right? So you do have a doji here yesterday. Today it looks like another, you know, multiple dojis in a row with tight Bollinger Bands, and you have the 50-day simple moving averages coming down here at 0.0229, and so a break above that level is going to signal it wants to break out higher. Like we said in the last video, it's 2.4 over here, 0.24. That's going to be the big level to break. If it drops below 128, that's going to signal downside risk. So keep an eye on it. It looks like it's setting up. You know, it's best just to wait for that break above resistance for the signal that it's ready to go. Okay, but keep an eye on it. And another one to look at is Salt. It has a nice uptrend going, and so yeah, it pulled back. It broke out above 6.1. It looks like it's trying to bounce here off of EMA 8, currently at 0009. This is the big level to hold if it can hold EMA 8. If not, it's going to drop down to 0.85. It would be most bullish if it could stay above EMA's 4 and 8 support. That has been the current trend, and then that would be a signal that it would want to work its way back up to the previous high. If it drops down to EMA 13, that level needs to really hold. If it doesn't, you're going to get a drop down to that middle Bollinger Band. As long as the middle Bollinger Band holds, the uptrend is intact and should continue. Okay, yeah, so we're going to be scanning through the cryptocurrencies, and we'll be posting some charts of some bullish charts to keep you updated on the cryptos that are in play. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for viewing this video. Happy New Year, everybody.